Sri Lanka's Prime Minister said late last month that the island nation's debt-laden economy had collapsed as it runs out of money to pay for food and fuel. Short of cash to pay for imports of such necessities and already defaulting on its debt, it is seeking help from neighbouring India and China and from the International Monetary Fund. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, who took office in May, was emphasizing the monumental task he faced in turning around an economy he said was heading for rock bottom. On Saturday, both he and President Gotabaya Rajapaksa agreed to resign amid mounting pressure from protesters who stormed both their residences and set fire to one of them. Sri Lankans are skipping meals as they endure shortages and lining up for hours to try to buy scarce fuel. It's a harsh reality for a country whose economy had been growing quickly, with a growing and comfortable middle class, until the latest crisis deepened. How serious is this crisis? The government owes $51 billion and is unable to make interest payments on its loans, let alone put a dent in the amount borrowed. Tourism, an important engine of economic growth, has sputtered because of the pandemic and concerns about safety after terror attacks in 2019. And its currency has collapsed by 80%, making imports more expensive and worsening inflation that is already out of control, with food costs rising 57%, according to official data. The result is a country hurtling towards bankruptcy, with hardly any money to import gasoline, milk, cooking gas, and toilet paper. Political corruption is also a problem. Not only did it play a role in the country squandering its wealth, but it also complicates any financial rescue for Sri Lanka. Anit Mukherjee, a policy fellow and economist at the Center for Global Development in Washington, said any assistance from the IMF or World Bank should come with strict conditions. How is it affecting real people? Tropical Sri Lanka normally is not lacking for food, but people are going hungry. The UN World Food Programme says nearly 9 of 10 families are skipping meals or otherwise skipping to stretch out their food, while 3 million are receiving emergency humanitarian aid. Doctors have resorted to social media to try to get critical supplies of equipment and medicine. Growing numbers of Sri Lankans are seeking passports to go overseas. Why is the economy in Indiana such dire straits? Economists say the crisis stems from domestic factors such as years of mismanagement and corruption. Much of the public's ire has focused on President Rajapaksa and his brother, former Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. The latter resigned in May after weeks of anti-government protests that eventually turned violent. Conditions have been deteriorating for the past several years. In 2019, Easter suicide bombings at. Why did the Prime Minister say the economy has collapsed? The stark declaration in June by Wickremesinghe, who is in his 6th term as Prime Minister, threatened to undermine any confidence in the state of the economy and didn't reflect any specific new development. The Prime Minister appeared to be underscoring the challenges facing his government as it seeks help from the IMF and confronts criticism over the lack of improvement since he took office weeks earlier.